Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to focus on the number one problem that's holding back 99% of AI developers and creators. And the problem is that your skills are not getting the attention that they deserve. And the reason that this is a problem is if your skills aren't getting noticed by the right people, they can't hire you, they can't pay you, and they can't send opportunities your way. And I know that this is a real problem because I had faced it myself. I was putting in the work, I was becoming a better developer, and I was building real world projects, but no matter what it felt like I was doing, it felt like I wasn't getting the attention I deserve, and I was just going unnoticed. And this was super frustrating because I couldn't land new jobs or new opportunities to get paid more. But then I made one single change that completely flipped the script and changed everything for me. I started to build an AI personal brand, and the rest has just been crazy since. This single change took me from being unknown to tripling my total income through new jobs, freelancing opportunities, digital products, coaching, and more opportunities than I can honestly keep up with. And in today's video, I'm going to share my entire playbook and give it all away completely for free so that you can start building your own AI personal brand that attracts clients, job opportunities, and ultimately unlocks new income streams for you. And the part you'll love the most is that any AI developer or creator can follow this exact playbook and go off and crush it. In fact, I've seen it in my own eyes as I've worked with multiple students. For example, I've worked with Tim, who is focused on building a YouTube channel around helping developers implement AI into their workflows. Before working with me, Tim was able to create 3 videos, get a few hundred views, and around 9 subscribers. After working with me and understanding how to properly position himself and create viral YouTube content, his next 3 videos ended up generating over 15,000 views and hundreds of subscribers. He was able to get months of progress in 3 videos, which is insane. And this ultimately unlocked the ability for him to rack in new freelance work and ultimately create his own school community, and he's just been crushing it ever since. Additionally, I've worked with Alexandra, who was already figuring out the content game, but struggling to figure out how to properly monetize it. After working through strategy, she's now on her way to get over $10,000 a month through different freelance opportunities and business opportunities, and she's been crushing it. But that's not where the story ends, because we've also helped her unlock the potential of LinkedIn to where now she's able to go off and generate posts that get over 100,000 views, and they're just raking in even more paid opportunities for her. So she's just absolutely crushing it as well. And in the rest of this video, we're going to be focusing on exactly what steps you need to take as well so that you can copy their success and go off and build your own AI personal brand and absolutely crush it. And because you guys are awesome and I really want you to go off and crush it, I went ahead and put together a 5-day email masterclass on building an AI personal brand that goes in much more detail than I'm able to in today's video. And I've already went ahead and sent it to a few people and they've absolutely loved it so far. So I'm sure you as well. I'll have a link to it down in the description below if you want to check it out and get even more support on creating your own AI personal brand. But enough of that, let's go ahead and actually quickly cover what we're going to be doing in the rest of the video. First off, we're going to talk about what is an AI personal brand and why you should care about it. Then what we're going to dive into next is the 5 core pillars of creating your own AI personal brand so you can understand how they all work together to ultimately just work to make you a lot of money. And I think you'll definitely want to stay around to the end because pillar 4 and 5 are my absolute favorite, and I'm sure you guys are going to love them too. And by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear picture and actionable steps on what you need to do next to go off and create your own AI personal brand and start raking in the money. So I hope you guys are super excited like I am, and let's go ahead and dive into the first part and cover what the heck is an AI personal brand. All right, so now it's time to go ahead and dive into the fun stuff. So what the heck is an AI personal brand? Well, an AI personal brand is just like a regular personal brand, but it's on steroids. It's all about showcasing your skills, expertise, in your projects online. Without an AI personal brand, no one's going to know who you are and how you can help them. But with an AI personal brand, everyone's going to know exactly what you do and how you can help them. And instead of just being another developer or creator, you're going to be tying your name to AI, which is the biggest and most in-demand skill in the world right now. And we're not just going to be talking about AI on your personal brand, we're going to be using it. Because right now, inside of an AI personal brand, we're going to be using AI to streamline your content, automate your workflows, and maximize your output to help you stand out even more. And it turns your work into a magnet for new opportunities. And with an AI personal brand, it's going to bring the right opportunities to you. And let me tell you why this matters. Because if you don't build an AI personal brand, you're going to be forever stuck going off and chasing opportunities. So if you're trying to get a new job, it's going to be you sending applications. If you're trying to get new freelance opportunities, it's going to be you pitching clients. And you're just hoping that someone stumbles upon you and just magically notices who you are and what you can do. But with an AI personal brand, it flips the script and opportunities chase you. I've seen this with my own eyes, and it's the craziest thing you'll ever see. Because once you have an AI personal brand, clients are going to reach out to you because they already know what you can do and how you can help them. Employers are going to go off and see your work and invite you to go ahead and get a job. You'll just wake up with DMs in your LinkedIn inbox of, hey, please come work from us, which is a drastic change without having an AI personal brand, because you're just hoping to God that someone magically responds to one of the hundreds of applications that you send out. And instead of proving yourself in an interview, your content that you've already generated has proven what you're capable of doing. So it eliminates all the friction, so all the opportunities just flood to your inbox. And this is exactly, like I've said, what's happened to me and other AI developers that I've worked with. And I will go ahead and say that building an AI personal brand isn't for everyone. Let me explain. Here's who an AI personal brand is for. If you're an AI developer or creator who's already building real world solutions, this is for you. If you're someone who loves experimenting with AI, creating projects, and like pushing the boundaries of what's possible, you're in the right place. And if you're tired of being overlooked and want to start attracting inbound opportunities, this is going to change everything for you. Now, I will say, if you've never built an AI project or anything before, this is not for you. And the first step for you is to actually go off, pause, and go ahead and start focusing on becoming a builder first. And luckily for you, I've dedicated my entire channel to helping you do just that. Definitely recommend checking out my AI videos, LangChain videos, and my AI with Make videos to go ahead and get started building real world AI solutions that enable you to provide value to the world. Now that we've kind of clarified, what an AI personal brand is, why it matters, and also who it's for, let's go ahead and start focusing on the next step, was making sure that you stand out. And the reason this is so important is because if you don't position yourself in the right way, you'll blend in with everyone else and won't stand out, which means it's harder for opportunities to come find you. And that's where our first pillar comes in, which is all about defining your brand positioning. So let's go ahead and hop into pillar number 1 so that we can start going ahead and setting you up for success on building your own AI personal brand. Oh, and real quick, before we dive into covering the 5 pillars of building your AI personal brand, I just want you to know, if you are looking for some more additional support as you go off in this journey, I am offering one-on-one support to go off and build your own AI personal brand and to help you land your first paying opportunity. And I'm doing that inside of a new group coaching program called the AI Authority Accelerator. And the whole purpose of this program, that's 8 weeks, is to help AI developers and creators just like you to go off and create an AI personal brand and land your first client, all within 8 weeks. And there's actually a personal guarantee that if you do not get a paid client by the end of 8 weeks, I will keep working with you until you do, because I am so confident that it will absolutely work for you and you'll be able to go off and crush it. And inside the program, you'll get hands-on support every step of the way, from starting all the way to going off and landing your first paid client. And let me just go ahead and give you a little bit more extra details on what's inside the program. And I'll be sending a lot more information on this out very soon, but I just want to go ahead and let you know at a high level. So first off, there's weekly coaching where we're going to dive into a specific topic each week that'll help you go from starting your AI personal brand to cranking out awesome content on YouTube, engaging with customers, and then landing that first paid client. And we're going to have multiple one-on-one calls throughout the program. Right at the start, we're going to help you pick your niche, help orient you in the right direction. Halfway through, we're going to do a checkup to see what we can do to adjust and accelerate your growth. And at the very end, we're going to talk about long-term strategy of how you can continue to crush it even after the program ends. Then outside of that, what I'm going to do is offer personalized feedback on every video and post that you go off and create. So that way, as you're going off and creating this content, you're basically just going to get 2 years of all lessons that I've learned. And we're going to help condense that into 8 weeks of, all sorts of tips and tricks that you can do on your feedback and on your post, so that you know exactly what to tweak and adjust to really accelerate your growth. Also, inside the program, I really want you guys to focus on the core parts of building an AI personal brand, such as, creating interesting content, and then focus on engaging with your customers and then landing that first paid client. So inside the program, you're going to have done for you video and thumbnail editing. It's a pain in the butt, and you're just going to be able to use my in-house team to get all this done. And we'll also crank out a basically high quality personal branding that you can put on all your social media platforms, so people know exactly what you do and you really look great online. And then what I'm also going to cover is, as we're building out your different content throughout the 8-week program, we're going to be sharing all the different tactics and playbooks for just really accelerating your growth. So you're going to get, instead of 8 months of progress, we're going to try and shrink that down into 8 weeks. So really, we're just trying to accelerate success for you guys. And then finally, I know each person inside of the program will most likely have different ways they're trying to monetize their AI personal brand. So I'll work with you one-on-one to help figure out exactly what you want to do in order to make money. And we'll work on,
orienting your content in a way to help you get there as fast as possible. So I'm so excited for this program. I hope you guys are too. And basically the whole goal of the AI Authority Accelerator is to help you speedrun success. In the rest of this video, yes, we are going to cover the 5 pillars, and you 100% can go off and do everything that's inside, that we're going to be covering inside the AI Authority Accelerator. But instead of it taking many, many months to land your first client and actually go off and crush it, I want to help you, like I said, speed run success and get there as fast as possible so you can get that first dollars coming in and understand how we're turning your AI personal brand into a full-blown business. And if you are interested in this type of additional one-on-one support, just a quick heads up for the AI Authority Accelerator. I'm only doing 20 spots inside of this group coaching program. Once 20 people are in, the doors close until the next cohort. And because this is the first cohort, I'm going to be doing a special founder discount for everyone who is interested. So if you are thinking about launching an AI personal brand, this is the best time to do it. It's the cheapest time to do it because every cohort going forward will increase in price. And what you can do if you are interested, applications, I'll send out a big email going out soon. And on March 10th, the doors open for everyone to apply, first come, first serve. And then starting after that, the program will start exactly on March 30th. And that's when we're going to make the rubber meet the road and we're going to start cranking out and building out your AI personal brand. So if you are interested, definitely recommend checking out the first link down in the description below. When you click the link, it'll go ahead and give you access to the 5-day email masterclass on building your AI personal brand. Plus, it'll automatically put you on the waitlist. So right when applications open, the doors open for people to apply on March 10th, you'll be the first to know. All right, enough of that. Let's go ahead and hop back to the 5 pillars of building your AI personal brand. All right, so now it's time for us to start diving into pillar number 1 and talk about your brand positioning with inside of your AI personal brand. So what is this? Well, your brand position is how people online instantly recognize you. It's what you do, it's who you help, and it's why these viewers should follow you. And if you get this part right, picking your niche, it's going to make everything else 10 times easier. And if you get it wrong, like I did when I first started out, you're going to waste months creating content that no one cares about. And it's ultimately just going to confuse your viewers if you don't pick a proper brand position. So it's super important to note that if you're clear about your brand positioning, the right audience will eventually find you. And once they find you, they stick around because they know what you stand for and what value you provide. So let me quickly cover my mistakes when starting out and how I fixed them so that you don't run into the same mistakes that I did. So when I first started out, I had zero positioning. I was everywhere. At first, I was like, I'm just going to make content about AI. So I was like, well, I'm going to show people how to make a children's book using AI. And then I was like, ooh, wait, I can now use Twitter and I'm going to make an automation bot using AWS. And then I was like, well, now back to AI and going to do a landing page. So all around, I was all over the place. And as a result, I started to gain some small amount of traction, but then it was ultimately just confusing my audience because they're like, wait, are you about Twitter? Are you about the cloud? Are you about AI? What are you here to help me for? And ultimately, I was just confusing my entire audience. And I really wasn't even building an audience. I was just confusing people because I was hopping around left and right. So here's the fix. You have to focus and pick a niche. Now, let me tell you how. So when you're creating your channel, you need to dominate a small slice of YouTube. You can't be everywhere. And the goal is to position yourself as the go-to authority on a very specific topic and not just be another creator creating content all over the place. And the more focused you are with your niche, the easier it is for you to attract the audience and also, more importantly, avoid competition. So something that's super important to know before you dive in to start building your AI personal brand on all these different social media platforms is that YouTube in specific is hyper competitive. You have some of the greatest and smartest people out there making content, and it's really a winner take all platform. So think of it, whoever is the best in a specific topic, they're usually the go-to source. And it's really hard to compete to get views in that same area, which is why we want to focus on standing out and not fight for attention. And here's how we can start doing it. And also, I do want to mention, we just want to make winning easy as we go off and build our AI personal brand. So here's how we can do it. You're going to follow the AI plus 2 topic frameworks. And let me quickly explain what this is. So the AI plus 2 topic framework is when you combine AI with 2 other topics. What this allows you to do is position yourself as the expert, but in a specific niche, rather than competing with every creator online who's talking about AI. So for example, let's just imagine that if you wanted to say, I'm going to be the AI guy. Well, are you going to create content about the newest models that are coming out? Are you going to create content about how AI can be used inside of sales teams? Are you going to talk about how AI can be used for developers? As you can see, it's too big and too broad. And as a result, no one's going to know why they should follow you because you're talking about everything all over the place. So with our AI plus 2 topic frameworks, here's exactly what you should be doing instead. You should pick AI and then 2 other topics. So in my case, I like to talk about AI full stack development, and business. Ultimately, I mix all three of these, and that little area in the middle is how I come up with my niche. So I get to talk a little bit about AI models, but how it relates to full stack development and real world use cases for business. So that's how I've gone about picking out my specific niche, and I recommend you doing the same. And let me show you and tell you why this works. It's hard to be a top 1% creator in a broad niche, just like I talked about AI as a whole. But when you combine all three of those different topics together, that overlap right in the middle helps you specialize in a specific niche and just establish your authority so that you become the go-to person. And one of the other reasons why this is so easy and so important for beginners starting out on their journey is it makes content creation easier because you have a clear focus on what you need to be talking about, and it prevents you from, chasing the shiny object and like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. It really puts some blinders on you and help you focus on what you need to be creating. Also, it's going to help you attract the right audience. It's the people who really care about what you have expertise on, and they will just, as time goes on, be, attracted magnetically over to you because you have all the right problems. You've already solved them on your channel, and they're just going to keep coming back for more and more, which is just going to attract even more similar people in the same audience. And the other part that makes this so awesome is your audience instantly knows why they should follow you, because as your topic is really focused on providing, as your content is focused strictly on those three different topics, and you're showcasing how you can build things, solve problems, the audience knows, oh, I need to follow him because he's going to help me solve those same problems. So that's why people are going to follow you. So let me go ahead and actually just get really concrete with this and show you a few other examples of this in action. So let's go ahead and look at a few different channels that are super, popular on YouTube. So Matthew Berman. Who is he and what is his niche? Well, as you can see over here on the left, his channel is mostly focused on, the trendy new thing that's happening. So what he's focused on is AI plus news, and then use cases of how these different AIs are showing up. So if you're in his world, every time a new something with AI pops up, you're going to want to go to his channel to watch to see what's going on. So this is exactly how he has picked it. And this way he doesn't have to go too deep into coding. He doesn't have to go too deep into anything else. He is strictly AI news and sharing use cases to inspire other developers and creators in the space. Another one, Jack Roberts, awesome creator. His focus, as you can see in his channel, is focused on AI, no code, and automations. He has an entire school community and YouTube channel dedicated to doing exactly these three things. And he's become the go-to guy for these different topics. Additionally, another example, Mervin, phenomenal developer. His focus is on AI, developers, and use cases. So if you want quick mini tutorials on how to use a new framework for developers that relates to AI, he always has a video on it, and he's very timely. So as soon as it comes out, boom, he has a quick tutorial that you can see, like 5 minutes or less, of showing you how to use this new technology and how it can be used. So all around, as you can see, just by mixing up these three different variables, you can produce wildly different content and completely different channels. So I'm hoping you're starting to see the power of this framework. So here are action steps for you when it comes to setting up your brand positioning for your new AI personal brand. First, we want you to ultimately pick your niche. And here's how you're gonna do it. First, I recommend going off and researching other YouTube channels on YouTube that you find interesting to see what's working, what's not working. Then I'd like you to reflect on what do you like to make and talk about. So for example, I read business books. In my free time, I just watch, all sorts of business podcasts. So I love business. Also, if you were just to give me unlimited free time, I would just code and build all sorts of cool real world projects. And I love AI. So that's how I picked mine. I just like to focus on what do I enjoy doing. And now I'm going to go off and create content in the real world about that and ultimately attract an audience that likes and has the same interest as me. So you have to do some inward reflection to figure out what you like. Next, I'm a huge fan of putting out a roadmap of just guessing okay, if I do pick this niche and I want to focus on these three topics, what kind of content would I create? And do I like it? If you do like the type of content you would go off and create, success. You now have a great topic that you can focus on. If after doing your roadmap and trying to figure out I could only really create one video in this area if I pick these three topics, we might need to take a step back and rearrange the different topics we pick. So you'll hop back to the reflect stage. So you're going to use these three steps together to go off and start creating your own AI niche that you should focus on. Now that we've already talked about, picking your personal brand, we now need to start focusing on the next step, which is creating a content engine where you're actually going to produce videos and valuable content that's going to help grow your audience on autopilot. And this is actually where most people get stuck. They have a great idea. They're going to do a specific, niche on YouTube and LinkedIn, but then they never get started. So they either just never make a post because they're afraid or they're not sure if it's actually going to provide value, or they do 1 or 2 posts and then give up because they instantly don't go viral and they never get any traction. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next section. We're going to specifically dive into actually how you can build your content engine properly so that it feels much easier and you don't give up. And the whole point of this content engine is to actually attract the right audience, go ahead and grow your authority so deals start coming in, and ultimately create new opportunities for you to start making money. That's what we're here about. So let's go ahead and hop over to pillar number 2, where we're going to start diving into creating your own content engine. So let's go ahead and hop over. So now that we've picked a topic that we want to talk about, it's time for us to dive into pillar number 2, where we're going to start talking about how we're going to create our content engine that's going to grow our audience on autopilot. So before we dive into talking about what is the content engine and how it's going to work, let's clearly define what are the goals that we want our content engine to do for us and our AI personal brand. So first off, we want to make sure that our content engine is it's more than posting videos. It really comes down to a system designed to help us with 3 core goals. First, we want to make sure that our content engine and every piece of content that we produce attracts leads and new opportunities to us 24/7 around the clock so that we get new deals while we're sleeping. That's our goal. We also want to make sure that each piece of content we're posting helps build authority so that people trust us as the experts that we are. We're smart, we're competent, we know what we're doing. We just want the world to know it as well. Next, we want to make sure that each piece of content we create is highly leveraged so that each piece of content works for you long after you post it. So we want today's work to pay dividends for weeks, months, and years going forward. So if you get your content engine strategy right, it's going to work for you around the clock. And each piece of content you produce is going to help it bring in new job offers, new clients, freelancing work, coaching clients, and honestly, more opportunities than you can even keep up with. Once it works, it's insane how well it pays off. But if you get this wrong, you're going to waste so much time creating content that no one really cares about, and it's not going to lead to real world opportunities and the ultimate outcome that you're shooting for. So we need to get this right. Now, before we dive into all the exact strategies, I just want you to know I have failed on this hard in the past. In fact, before I launched the YouTube channel that you're watching right now, I actually launched a previous one and it bombed, it tanked. My big idea was I was going to create a vlog startup that was focused on my journey of building an AI startup. And as you can see, I posted 3 videos. I maxed out at 100 views. The content was completely wrong. It was all me focused. It wasn't focused on providing value to the viewers, and it absolutely crashed. In fact, on the last video, I got 2 comments. One comment was like, "Hey, watch no one care about what you're building." And the other one was, "I hope you fail." And I was like, this YouTube thing is awful. I hate it. And I actually gave up. I quit right then and there. And it took a full year before I thought about doing it again. But I did not give up. That was the important part. A full year later, I came back, and this time I was focused on building a real content engine that was going to work for me. And I completely changed everything about my strategy. And once I made this big change, everything changed for me and worked out way better. And as you can see on this channel, it's exploding ever since. So here's exactly what you need to do when it comes to building your content engine. First, every time we're creating a new piece of content, we want to make sure that it's high value and leverageable content. And we'll dive deeper into this in just a second. Next, every time we are making sure that we're producing content, we want to make sure that we're going to put it on platforms that have high organic reach and longevity. So think YouTube, where you post a video today and people will watch it for years to come. And we also want to post content on LinkedIn because it works for months out into the future. And this is super important because I know a lot of us have full-time jobs and we really need to crank on that leverage knob so that we can do work once and then the content will work for us as a digital asset. And we're not going to be posting on content on platforms like X because it's a constant rat race and you're running on a hamster wheel because every 24 hours the clock starts over and we don't have time for that. And next, in every piece of content that we produce, we're going to give away everything. We're not going to hold back anything. And here's why. People pay for 2 things. They pay for implementation and acceleration. And that's what we're here for. We're here to start a business. We're not here just to get popular. We are starting a business. So let me explain. People pay for implementation, and specifically, taking a step back, when we create high value content that gives away all our secrets and shares everything, 2 types of people are going to pay for it. 1, future employers and clients are going to pay for implementation because they see that, oh my gosh, this guy can do exactly what I want. He's crushing it. I need him to do that for me. So they're going to pay for implementation. Also, there are beginner developers and creators that are a few steps behind you that want to accelerate their journey to get where you're at. So they're going to pay for coaching, digital products, and more opportunities to get where you're at. So that's why we're going to give it all away for free, not hold anything back, because knowledge is not the limiting factor. It's actually implementation is a limiting factor, and direct coaching and helping people where they're at to get from where they're at to where they're going. So paying for acceleration. So next, what we want to do inside of our content engine is we want to focus on building out an email list. We are on rented land when we're on YouTube and LinkedIn, and we want to bring them into our ecosystem, and we're going to do that through irresistible lead magnets. And the reason why is not everyone's ready to hire or buy from you today. But if they join your email list and you continually provide value over time, they might be at a later date, and that way we can start to collaborate and provide value to one another. And the way we're going to do this is, like I said, through an irresistible lead magnet. So think, for example, a free source code, a cheat sheet, or a mini course. All of these are great examples of lead magnets. So for example, in this video, I've talked about, I've actually created a much deeper dive of the 5 pillars of creating an AI personal brand. I go way deeper than I can in this YouTube video, and I definitely recommend you checking that down in the description below. See exactly what we're doing here as well. Next, what we're going to do is, in the third step of our content engine, is we're going to repurpose and multiply your efforts. So what I mean by that is every time you generate a lead magnet for your YouTube video, we're going to work to repurpose it to go over to LinkedIn. Why? Is because we, as developers and creators, have very limited time. So we need to structure our setup in a way to where we get to maximize all the juice and all the value from everything that we do, because we only have so many hours in the day, and we want to post on these platforms that are going to give us exponential results. So let me give you an example. Why we want to actually go ahead and put our lead magnet on multiple platforms is because the more people can see our name, the faster your authority grows, and the more opportunities are going to come your way. And ultimately, the more value that you put out into the world, the more opportunities are going to come your way. So it's a win-win, and that's why we're going to repurpose all lead magnets over from YouTube to LinkedIn as well. And let me just give you a concrete example of this. Alexandra, one of the students I've worked with, she worked on creating an awesome video on mixtures of agents, created a great lead magnet of, oh, by the way, you can download this template, and then repurposed it over to LinkedIn, the same one. Like I said, we're squeezing all the juice out of everything we create, and this lead magnet exploded. So as you can see on YouTube, it got 3,000 views, great, but she repurposed the same lead magnet, but just packaged it differently in a LinkedIn post, and it exploded. This one post got over 100,000 impressions over on LinkedIn. That's led to 5 paid opportunities, and it's just exploded. So hopefully the dots are connecting on like, oh wow, the power of repurposing content in your content engine is insane. So now that we've kind of talked high level what we need to be doing in our content engine, let's actually dive into some more actionable steps on what you need to be doing in creating, proven content formats that you can copy and start creating videos on today. So what are we going to do first? Well, the easiest way to create content for our niche is to actually do a curated list. Now, this type of video format or LinkedIn post format is great for a few reasons. You are going to say, hey, I've done a lot of research and a lot of work, and I've put together the most high value, actionable items that I think are going to blow your mind. And I'm just going to give it to you in a simple list. People love lists. That's the other reason why this format works so well, is because it clearly explains to the viewer or the reader what they're going to get out of this video and how you're going to take them from their current state, which is interested, to the final state, which is like, oh, wow, that was awesome. You give me a ton of value. And we're going to do that in a format of a list, because the user will know and the viewer will know, okay, he's going to show me 3 items. So I can expect in the rest of this video or post to see 3 items that are going to be awesome. So that's why this really works so well. And just to give you a concrete example of this, we could do some sort of video saying like, hey, here are 3 mind-blowing examples of OpenAI's O3 mini model that you should steal. So this is a really good example of like, hey, I've found all these things. Let's go ahead and let me show them to you. So you can see we're going to do, item 1, example 2, example 3. And at the final end, we're going to say, oh, by the way, I've made an awesome lead magnet for you guys as well, where I've actually went off and found an additional 5 examples that you will love. Click the link down in the description below and I'll shoot them over to you as well. So it's always give value. And then with our lead magnet, we're going to give even more value. Next, another format that is proven that you guys should definitely copy and steal as you're going off to create your first rounds of content is a simple how-to guide, strictly a step-by-step guide. So the reason why this format works is because it provides immediate value to the reader or viewer, and there's a clear actionable outcome. So by following this how-to guide, by the end of it, I know the goal is I should be able to do the thing. And it really showcases how technical we are, what we're able to do, and our problem-solving skills. So once again, we're building up our authority at the same time. Let me give you a concrete example of this and why it's such a good one. So we could say, hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to build an AI agent that scrapes competitor prices in 5 steps. That is a very clear outcome. I instantly know what the entire video is about. I know the entire format. I know if I was to click on this video right now, that there would probably be some sort of intro, and then there'd be step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And by the end of 5, I would have a bot or agent that could go off and let me see all my competitors' prices. Very clear. I know what I'm going to get out of this video before even clicking on it. And then the video format, once again, show the 5 steps, and at the end we'll say, oh, by the way, here's the lead magnet. Here is all the code that you saw inside the AI agent. Just go ahead and download it completely for free. Link in the description below. So hopefully you're starting to get the format and feel for this and the way we should go about creating content in our content engine. And then finally, the third format that you should steal is the tip insight list. So with this one, what we're doing is actually just aggregating a bunch of high impact lessons to our audience because, you know, we as the expert have a ton of expertise in a certain domain. And we're just going to say, hey, I've spent hundreds of hours, you know, thousands of dollars working in this field. And here are a few tips and insights on how you should go about doing X. And the reason why this works so well, once again, it paints a clear journey for what the viewer should do. Like here's 5 tips on how to do X. It paints a clear journey for what the user is going to experience as they're watching the video or reading the book. And they're also going to, you know, once again, you know, have a clear understanding of what they're going to get out of it. So another example for this one would be, hey, in today's video, I'm going to give you 7 tips for AI developers to use Cursor like a pro. So this video, very clear outcome. I'm curious in Cursor and I do want to know how to actually use it better. So I'm actually going to go off and create a video on this exact subject later on because I think this is between Claude and Cursor. There's a lot of interesting things you can do in this field. So same format. I'm going to show 7 tips. And at the very end, I'm going to say, oh, by the way, if you would like to see even more tips, check the lead magnet down below, get it completely for free. And you'll see another 8 tips that I've added for you guys completely for free. So hopefully it's starting to all make sense of how it all connects together. Now we know what type of content we need to be making, where we need to post it. We even know the formats of what type of content to create. But now we need to focus on avoiding the most common mistakes I see beginners do as they're going off and starting to crank up and build their content engine. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the first thing is, as beginners go off and start creating YouTube videos and LinkedIn posts, they don't hook the viewer. And if you don't hook the viewer between your title, thumbnail, and your intro, basically the rest of the work is wasted. Because if someone doesn't click, it doesn't matter how awesome the video is on the inside. If they don't click, they don't watch. And if they don't watch, they don't get value, which means you're not going to get opportunities and leads. So you have to hook the viewer. You should spend the majority of your time in the beginning thinking about clearly how to create a title and thumbnail that brings in people to clearly watch your video and gets them excited to watch. All right, another major mistake that I've seen beginners make time and time again is they start filming without a clear 3-line. So they're going to they get inspired by something they see and they just start recording. And then they're kind of starting off talking about AI. And then they hop over to, oh, I learned some lessons back from when I started my first job that you're going to find helpful too, because it's helped me. And then, oh yeah, and then here, by the way, here's a quick how-to guide on as we're, you know, talking about this. Oh, and here's a deep dive on this random subject. And like they kind of hop around, and what ends up happening is they get done with the video and then they go, shoot, what should the title for this be? And because they've scattered everything all over the place, the title will never match the viewer's expectations of what they're going to watch. Each video should have a clear single purpose and a clear single title that work together and just make it very easy for the viewer. We want to keep things clear because a confused viewer leaves. So the actionable tip out of this is focus on a clear title first that you would want to click yourself, and then focus on creating the video second. Then the third major mistake that I see most developers make, and creators make on, LinkedIn and YouTube is they stop way too soon. They quit. They make a few videos. They don't get the millions of views that they expected they were going to get, and they just give up. And I know I've seen this myself. Heck, I did it myself the first time I created YouTube because I just did not know what I was doing until I invested in coaching courses and everything to figure out how the heck this game works. And the biggest mistake that people do is the comparison game. They see, the Mr. Beast, the huge YouTube channel that gets hundreds of thousands of views, and they say, dang, my video only got like 500 views. This is not what I thought it was going to be. It's much harder. I'm not getting job offers. I'm going to give up. And the trick is, do not play the comparison game. to other people. Play the comparison game against your future self. So, is your second video better than your first? Great. Just keep doing that and don't give up. The only way you lose this game is by not quitting. The only way you lose this game is by quitting. So if you don't quit, you're eventually just ultimately going to win. So hopefully that makes sense as well. Now, the solution to these major problems, and the way I like to think about it to like really help, stay in it for the long game, and this is an infinite game, you can keep playing it forever, is to treat every piece of content that you create as an asset that's going to compound over time and work for you 24/7 around the clock. So every time you make a video, it's another shot at getting your authority out there and to go off and work as a digital asset 24/7 to bring in people into your sphere so that you get more opportunities, and just the rest, it just works. So don't give up and just think everything that you're doing, it's a little soldier fighting for you 24/7 around the clock, and we just have to, slowly build up our army. All right, so we've gone through everything that you need to know about creating your content engine. And I want to go ahead and give you immediate steps that you should take. Heck, right now, pause the video and start working on these, or immediately after watching this. So here's what you need to do next when it comes to creating your first pieces of content. First, pick a proven content format. So like I said earlier, let's get that curated list, a how-to guide, or a simple list of insights. Next, we're going to write a strong, clickable title before doing anything else. So the best thing I like to do is think of what's a good video title that I would want to watch myself. So in my head, I would love to watch a quick how-to guide or a quick 7 tips on how to best use Claude 3.7 with Cursor. I would want to watch that video right now. So I'm going to go off, research, do all the finding around and experimenting and create that video, because if I have that video that I want to watch, I know there's probably thousands of other people that also want to watch the same thing. And we want to be very clear in the title. 7 tips for how to best use Claude with Cursor. Boom. Very, very simple. Next, after we have clearly defined our title, we want to work on making our engaging hook. So the first 30 seconds are the most important of the whole YouTube video. I have more information on this in the 5-day masterclass in the email below. But basically, the first 30 seconds are the most important part of the whole video. Once someone clicks, and if you confuse them, they're going to just dip and your views won't explode on the video. Finally, we need to focus on making that irresistible lead magnet for your video that you pick. So think cheat sheets, source code, resource guides, or just more of what you did in the video. That always works. And our ultimate goal is to get people off YouTube and LinkedIn and in our email list. So hopefully that all makes sense. And now that you understand like how to go off and create content that attracts attention, it's not enough. The next step is actually to start turning that attention into real world opportunities. And like I said, content is not enough on its own. And if you're not actively connecting and engaging with people that message you on your videos and posts, you're just leaving an insane amount of money on the table. And that's what in Pillar 3, it's all about. It's all about transforming your audience that's engaged into valuable relationships, some collaborations, and paid opportunities so that everybody can win. So let's go ahead and hop over to Pillar number 3 so you can see this all in action. All right, guys. So welcome to Pillar number 3, strategic networking, where we're going to focus on turning in all of those content that we're generating into actual conversations. So those conversations can turn into high-paying opportunities. So let's go ahead and dive in. So one of the things that's super important to note is posting content is just the start of building your AI personal brand. Because if you're not actively engaging with the people that are commenting, DMing, or reaching out to you as you post content, you're leaving massive amount of opportunities on the table that could turn into really high-paying deals. So here's the problem. Content alone is not enough. Views and likes don't pay the bills, but conversation with real people who have problems that we can solve, they do. That is what pays the bills. So if you're just posting and waiting for opportunities coming to you, you're missing the point here. If someone watches your video, they find it valuable, and they drop a comment like, hey, this is super helpful. Well, if you don't go off and start a conversation with them, how can they ever hire you, refer you, or know you even offer help? So that's exactly what we're focusing on in this strategic networking pillar. And this is where most creators fail. They just don't fully complete the loop. They get it started, but they just don't go 100%. So they create the content that brings in the views, which brings people directly to them, but they never engage, which never allows the cycle to complete and get them paid. So here's exactly how we're going to fix it with the strategic networking. So instead of waiting for opportunities to start the conversations, here's exactly what we're going to do. First, we're going to engage. So every time someone reaches out with a comment, a DM, or interacts with us in any way possible, we're going to engage. And once we engage, our whole goal is to help. We're here to provide help and provide value to the world to showcase our expertise and that we're an authority in the space. So if they mention that they're having a problem, we're going to offer free value. That's all we're trying to do here. free value, because as long as we put enough goodwill into the universe, I promise you it's going to come back tenfold. We'll talk more about that later on. But if someone does reach out with a problem, we're going to say, hey, I actually have helped a lot of developers in this space with that exact same issue. Can we hop on a quick call for an hour, 30 minutes, so I can help you out? And that opportunity and that conversation can lead to a real opportunity for you. We'll talk way more about how to monetize in pillar number 4, but for right now, just know this could be a really great opportunity for us. And then finally, what we're going to do after that quick conversation, the whole goal is to go, hey, I've had a great talk with you for the past 45 minutes. I've given you everything that I know about solving this problem. And then we're going to go with the oh, by the way method, where we're going to say, oh, by the way, I've actually helped coach a lot of developers who want to do exactly what you're trying to do in the past, and I'd be happy to help. Then we can drop an hourly rate. We can drop a bundle of like, hey, I think it'll take 4 coaching calls to get you where you want to go. Is that something you'd be interested in? And the reason why this works so well is because over the past 45 minutes of the conversation, we've just dropped knowledge bomb, knowledge bomb, knowledge bomb. So we've eliminated all friction because they see we clearly understand the problem. We've already told them how to do it. Like, the how is not the magic sauce. If you remember back from earlier, people pay for implementation and speed, and we can offer help on either, because we could build it if they want us to, or we could coach them along the way. So that's our whole goal. Value, value, value. And at the end, hey, I can help. And it's also important to mention, if we can't help, totally fine. That happens all the time. But what we're trying to do here is basically play out the role of just provide massive value to everyone that interacts with us and put as much goodwill and karma into the universe, because like I said, it will come back tenfold. And just to give you a quick caveat, if you can't help, totally fine, because you could always play matchmaker, where you say, hey, I personally cannot help solve this issue. I obviously have told you everything that I think you should be doing, but I also know this guy who you would really like to connect with. So you can always play matchmaker as well. And that's something else that I think you would find really interesting. It's crazy how many cool people you're going to meet as you go off and engage in this strategic networking. Now, let me explain why this matters. First off, it builds trust, and people buy from people they trust. And that's clearly at the beginning of the whole call. When we're doing a strategic call with someone, we're just offering value and clearly establishing we know what we're doing and building trust. It also helps create opportunities. So what I mean by that is, even if the person we help doesn't need, want more help right now, they might later. And that's so important, because we're playing the long game here, and we just know deals might not always come in, but we just want to be known as the person who can solve problems. So whenever someone does need help, they reach out to us, or they tell their friend who's probably in the same space of like, hey, I know a guy that could help you with the exact problem they're doing. So we're just trying to create a network of people that know exactly what we do and how we can help people. So anytime on that person's radar an opportunity or issue comes up, they're going to be directing them to us. So this is a really cool way of how we can exponentially grow our network to just attract opportunities left. It's wild how many things are going to come your way. And then finally, I do want to go ahead and say, if you ignore this, it's going to feel like YouTube and this whole AI personal brand isn't working. And the reason why is because you're going to start getting the views. You're going to get the thousands of views, maybe even tens of thousands of views, but then you're not going to get any results, meaning you're not going to get any paid clients. And it's because of that gap right in the middle where we're not having conversations. So the second you start having conversations with real people, the pipeline is complete, and you're going to start getting real opportunities just fall in your lap. And if you don't do these conversations, it's going to feel like you're just posting in the void and you're getting views, but nothing's happening. So do not ignore this advice about doing strategic networking. So let me go ahead and share you some personal stories that I've had as I've gone off and started to actually engage in this exact strategy that I've been sharing with you guys. So I do just a quick bit of background is when I started, I was so hesitant about, going on these strategy calls, helping people out. What if I don't know what they need help with? What if they think I'm dumb? I had so many faulty beliefs of, instead of just going out and providing value to the world, I would just kind of I'm just going to hold it all in because, that's how people are going to come and find me, because I'm an expert. I know what I'm talking about, and it's just up to them to understand it. And that's not the case. What you have to do is you have to provide all the value on the call, because we are the expert and we're confident in our abilities. So what I did to start is, because I was unsure what to do, is I started offering free strategy calls on all of my YouTube videos. Hey, you want help? I have a calendar link in the description below. Let's hop on a call. I will help you with whatever issue you're running into, because I just want to start bringing people into my ecosystem so I can start helping out. And the part that is very interesting about doing it is everything started to change after I was doing this strategic networking. So let me show you. The second I started opening up my doors for people to come in and start engaging with me, my calendar instantly became booked. It was wild. Overnight, I was like, well, I have no more free time at nights because I'm just going to be on calls with people left and right offering value. And here's all the awesome things that came from it. First off, I would get on a call with someone who was thinking about building some sort of AI tool, course of an hour. I would spend the majority of it saying, here's exactly how I would go about building and solving the problem that you're having. And then at the end of the call, the guy would just look at me and go, can I hire you? Like right now? Are you looking for a new job? So that just blew my mind of just like, by helping someone out for 45 minutes, an instant job offer would just fall in your lap. Also, consulting gigs will pop up all the time of like, hey, we clearly see what you're doing. You now understand where our problems are. Would you be interested in like, teaching our CEO or teaching our team about how to use AI for our specific niche? So those come into your lap as well, and those pay very well. And then finally, you also get to meet a lot of awesome developers who are, a few steps behind you, but want to get where you're at. So for example, you might get a developer to say like, hey, I watched your latest video. It was awesome. Here's what I'm trying to build. Over the course of the 45 minutes, we break down, hey man, here's the 3 steps you need to do to build a project if I was in your shoes. And at the very end of it, you always get one of 2 options. Hey, would you actually be interested in building this for me? I can pay you. Or the developer would go, oh, I really want to understand how to do this myself. Do you offer coaching? So either way, you can always help in any of these situations. And it just completely blew my mind that I would just, I wasn't seeing results until I started doing this. And the second I started doing this, it's a game changer. And I never want to stop having conversations with real world people because it closed the loop and all the opportunities started to flood in. And then the best part about this is I had a lot of faulty beliefs of like, man, I have to have 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 subscribers for this to actually start working. And that's not true. I was probably in the low thousands of subscribers when I started doing this. And as I've worked with like Alexandra, Tim, and others, people are starting to get conversations like when they have hundreds of subscribers. It's wild. And the reason why it worked is because we're planting our flag on a specific niche and we are showing that we are the best at what we do. So you don't have to have thousands of subscribers. It works really well, even as you're starting out. And also just quick pro tip on a side note, when you're starting out with this strategy, I know a lot of developers and creators are going to have imposter syndrome of like, what the heck do I charge? Like, am I worth 25 an hour, 100 an hour, 500 an hour? Like no one knows how to charge. So here is my step-by-step strategy of how I would figure out your hourly rate if you're starting out. So to start, go completely free. Just say, hey, I'm here to provide value. Your calendar is going to book up like this. And then what's going to happen next is you're going to go, oh my gosh, I have no more time in the day to do anything. I have to bump my hourly rate, and we're applying friction. So we're going to go free. Then we're going to book a calendar, completely booked, add friction, 25 an hour, 50 an hour. And then once again, our calendar is going to get booked. And then we're going to go up again, 100 an hour. And then our calendar will slowly start booking up. And then whenever your calendar levels out at whatever you're comfortable with, maybe 2-3 calls a week, whatever works for you, that's how you have through the market figured out your hourly rate. And it's just crazy. As time goes on and more people know about you, your hourly rate's just going to keep climbing up and up and up to where you're charging hundreds of dollars an hour. And this blew my mind when I started to be like, are you cool for a $200, $300 coaching call? And people are like, yeah, please, let's go. So I just want you to know, limiting beliefs and a lot of imposter syndrome, just know everyone has it. And that's how my step-by-step strategy on figuring out your hourly rate. So, all right, now back to strategic networking and actually specifically what action items you need to be taking inside of pillar number 3. So first off, we need to make it insanely easy for people to reach out to you. So what I mean is you need to add a clear call to action on all of your social media platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere else to say, hey, I offer help. If you want to talk to me at all, click the link down the description below. So you can add in like a Calendly link, or you can say, hey, here's my email. Shoot me anything. I am so happy to help. And the reason why is we just want to let people know that we're available for help. Because if you don't tell people that, they can't just assume that you're here to help. So we have to be very explicit and say, I am here to help you. Next, what we need to do is, like we talked about earlier, we need to engage with everyone. And the way I like to think about it is every time someone interacts with me, it's another potential opportunity to help, but more importantly, it's another chance for me to provide value to the world, because I know the more I put out there, the more that the universe will give back. So it is up to us to just give until, until we can't give anymore, and just to be professional, try and respond quickly, and really just to go ahead and start the conversation as fast as you can while they're interested, while the lead is hot, is kind of the way I like to think about it. And then most importantly, I see a lot of developers get this wrong and AI creators get this wrong when they start out. Whenever someone does engage, they just respond with oh, cool, thanks. And that's not how we actually should be engaging with people that we're trying to help. We always want to keep things open-ended. So you need to ask better questions. So instead of just saying, thanks, cool, I appreciate you liked the video. No. We're going to say, hey, just out of curiosity, what are you working on? Glad you liked the video. Oh, by the way, what's your biggest challenge with AI? Or just whatever you were talking about in the video, just provide a open-ended question back to whoever's engaging with your content, just so we can keep the ball rolling. Make a new friend, help out, new opportunity. It's just, we have to ask better questions. And then another thing, I've kind of harped on this a lot, but we want to deliver massive value on every single call, or really every single interaction we have with people. The reason why is because the more insights, the more strategy and actionable advice you give, the more you're going to be seen as an expert. And then also it's just going to make you easier to get hired. And I used to have a lot of faulty beliefs of just like I said earlier, I'm going to hold in all the good knowledge and like not share it. And that's completely wrong. Give it all away, because we're not going to be a gatekeeper of knowledge. Our whole goal is to be an implementation expert or an educator expert that's going to help people get to where we're at. And then just final thing that I've kind of mentioned a few times now is after we do one of these strategy calls or engagements, we always want to say, oh, by the way, I hope you understand everything that we've talked about today. And I do believe I could actually help you out with achieving your goal. If you're interested, here's how I can help. And this is where we kind of start to hop over to pillar number 4, which is starting to figure out how we actually turn all these conversations that we're having at the very end. How do we actually turn this into deals so we can start making money and basically getting compensated for all the value we're putting out into the world? So this is exactly what we're going to cover in pillar number 4. We're going to break down how you turn the content, the connections, and all the conversations that you're about to have into high paying opportunities so the money just starts flowing in and it feels so right. So let's go ahead and hop over to pillar number 4 so we can start learning how to put some money in your pockets. All right, guys, welcome to pillar number 4, which is all about monetization. And this is my favorite pillar in the whole course just because this is where everything completely changes. And inside of this pillar, we're going to be talking about how we're going to, turn your AI personal brand into a money-making machine. I'm going to show you all the different ways you can make money, all the different levels. Like I said, I'm so excited for you guys to see everything that's about to come this way. All right, so the most important thing to note is everything changes once the first dollar starts rolling in, because you go from a hobby to this is a business. Like, it fully makes sense. You see how you go end to end of attracting eyeballs to actually making money. And this is the section where it all happens. And here's the hard truth about it though. If you don't have a clear monetization strategy, you're just leaving a ton of money on the table, and you actually just might not make money if you don't understand what we're going to be talking about in this section. So before diving into the exact ways to make money, I think it's important for us to take a step back and understand the 3 levels of monetization with your AI personal brand and how we're going to start building in leverage to make more and more money as we grow. So let's go ahead and dive into the first one. So the first strategy and first level of monetization inside of an AI personal brand is one-on-one. So this usually means coaching or freelancing. You can do this right out the gate, and we'll talk about this much deeper in just a second, but just know you can start doing this level 1, right out the gate as soon as you launch your AI personal brand. Next, we're going to start going up the leverage chain, and we're going to start working on one-to-many. So this is where you're not going to help an individual person, you're going to start working with groups of people. And we're going to talk about why this is the next step in just a second. And then finally, there's the holy grail, which is the 1 to infinity monetization level. So this is level 3. And this is basically where you're going to start creating digital products or SaaS services where every time someone buys it from you, there's no additional work. So the important part though, because we're going to dive deep into each one of these and talk about exactly how you can make money with each one of these options, is just to note these are levels because it takes time to get to the infinite money level, whereas the one-on-one coaching you can do immediately when you start your channel. So let's go ahead and dive in and actually make some concrete examples. So let's start talking one-on-one monetization, which is coaching and freelancing. So this is 99% most likely where your first dollar is going to come from. So this is you going off and coaching and helping other people who are a few steps behind you, or this is you freelancing and solving problems for other businesses. And this is exactly what I'm helping people do inside of the AI Authority Accelerator. Like I said, 8-week coaching program. By the end of 8 weeks, my goal and personal guarantee is you will have one of these opportunities coming in. So you're starting to make one of those monies, or I'll keep working with you until you get one of these. So like I said, so confident this is where your first dollars will come from. I know I've harped on this a bunch inside of this masterclass, but it really comes down to understanding a core concept, is that every time you are creating content on the internet, you're always attracting 2 audiences. So one action gives 2 results at all times. Learners who want your coaching and buyers who want your implementation. So this is why level 1 is all about one-on-one help, because this is exactly what our content is basically a lead magnet for. It's bringing in these types of people. Now, here's how I recommend getting started with this one-on-one monetization level 1. So go ahead, pick an hourly rate. So like I said, I would start at $50 an hour minimum if you're new. And then like we talked about in the previous section, with our strategic networking, we're going to let friction be our guide on what we should charge on an hourly rate. So we'll start out $50 an hour, and then our calendar will fill up with strategy calls and freelancing opportunities where we're doing work. And eventually we're going to say, oh my gosh, I have no more time. Hey man, I know we have been working at this rate, but I have so much work to do and there's so many opportunities coming our way. I have to bump up to $100 an hour or $200 an hour. Whatever the market demand, you're just going to keep bumping up your rates, because I cannot express this enough. We are in the perfect opportunity for AI developers and creators. The reason why is the demand is here. Every business, every client, every student, they all want to learn how to use AI. So the demand is here, and the supply, aka you as an AI creator or developer, you are in the demand. So the demand is small, the supply is huge. So people are just going to be throwing opportunities your way. So you will be amazed how quickly your hourly rate is just going to double and double and just keep going from there, because you're a wanted person and people really, really need your help. So excited for you guys to actually see this in action, because it's unreal when you have to start telling people no and my rate doubled. It's just the most mind-blowing thing that'll ever happen. All right, so now going in the tradition of leveling up, eventually what's going to happen is we're going to just run out of time, because we're basically going to start charging so much money per hour that no one can afford us. Totally fine. That's just how the market works. $300 an hour, a lot of people can't do that. So in order for us to still provide value to people, we are going to have to move to the one-to-many monetization level, where we're going to share our time with multiple people. So let me actually go ahead and dive into this so I can explain. And like I said, this is strictly a forcing function of so many people wanting you. You're going to have to transition from a one-on-one to a one-to-many, just where you're sharing your time and splitting it up. So people are splitting the cost for your time. So it's affordable for them, but you're still getting the big dollars. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So when you shift to a one-to-many, there's really two options. So there's high ticket group coaching. So think a premium course anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000. This is where, you're hand holding a few select people on a desired journey till they get a clear outcome. That's option one. Option two is a low ticket group subscription. So think school. This is the best way I like to think about it, to where, hey, you guys get to hop on premium calls, get premium courses that I make, just small ticket items, and you're just constantly providing a value to a large group of people that are inside of your community. So the reason why this is so important is because we're starting to see how money works and how time works together. In the one-to-many model, you're trading time. You're trading the same amount of time, but for a lot more money, and you're scaling your impact. So this is kind of like the mental model of like, oh, this is actually how it really works. And I want to go ahead and actually give you a few concrete examples of this monetization strategy working. So if you were to go off and create a school community that has 200 members where you're charging $50 a month, that is a $10,000 a month business. And the part that's so wild is these numbers are not crazy. After a 6 months to a year on YouTube building your AI personal brand, there's no reason you shouldn't be hitting these numbers. Because basically the answer is, are there 200 people on earth who are interested in what we're doing and we can provide value to them on a month-to-month basis? The answer is yes. It's just going to take work to get there. And that means we can very easily, with an AI personal brand, hit $10,000 a month. We just can't quit. That is the only thing we cannot do. Don't quit, and you will hit this. So it's just a wild concept. All right, so now we're going to keep scaling up the leverage chain. And this is where we reach the 1 to infinity monetization level, where we're starting to sell digital products and SaaS. And I'm going to explain why this is level 3 in just a second. So once you reach level 3, things scale exponentially. And here's why. Instead of selling your time anymore, you're going to be selling products that require zero additional effort on your side to provide value. So what I mean by that is, like, you're going to create a digital product that people can just buy around the clock. You're not having to hop on a call. You're not having to use your time. People are just going to buy it. And this is where you're going to start making money while you sleep. I've built full stack AI marketing courses. I've sold digital products in the past. And I can go ahead and tell you, there's no better feeling than waking up in the morning and just be like, while I was sleeping last night, I just made $1,000. Or, hey, I built a digital product 6 months ago, and this weekend I made $500. Like, there's no better feeling than when you reach this level. The kicker is it takes time to get here. And let me actually go ahead and hop over and show you why. So it all comes down to one key fact. Size matters. The size of your audience determines when you can start to do level 3 of 1 to infinity monetization. So here's why. Let's go ahead and look at a small example of a beginner channel, and let's say they have 100 email subscribers. Well, if they're trying to sell a $200 course with a 1% conversion rate on that email list, you have one customer, and that one customer is going to pay $200. So you're going to go through the whole process of building out a course, spend dozens of hours working on this, and then make $200. Not worth it. This is strictly a scale problem. Now let's look at what happens if we sell the same course, but we've been in the game longer of building our AI personal brand, and we reach 10,000 email subscribers. Something that's totally doable in your first year of building an AI personal brand. So let's look at these numbers. Well, with the same conversion rate, and the only thing that's changed is we've gone from 100 to 10,000 email subscribers, we're now going to end up with 100 people who can buy our course. So the exact same course, providing the exact same value, is now going to generate $20,000 for us when we do our course launch. And what's wild is these numbers just scale. So you keep chugging along building your AI personal brand, and now you hit 30,000 email subscribers, 50,000 email subscribers. Well, when you hit 50,000 email subscribers in that same course, you now just had a 6-figure course launch, which is just like mind blowing that this even exists. But the key thing here is like, we have to do a reality check. Like, beginners should not rush into digital products because the math does not work. So just keep it in your back pocket. Know that this is an insanely profitable way to make money, and it's just a little bit down the line, but I still just want you guys to get excited to see what's possible as you go out and build your AI personal brand. Now, outside of those core monetization streams that I've showed you, there's a bunch of other ways you can make money building your AI personal brand. So let's go ahead and dive into them. So one, and I think it's really overlooked, is just a high paying job offer. Inside the AI space right now, if you're a developer, it is not uncommon to get paid, $150,000 plus in the salary, plus, a ton of money in stocks. So this right here, if you just build an AI personal brand and, a few months later it leads to a job, like, that's wild. You just probably made so much money on your salary that it's, don't sleep on getting a really high paying job. Next are sponsorships. So this is where brands are going to reach out to you and say, hey, I really like what you're doing. It aligns with what we're trying to do. How much does it cost to do a brand deal to where you talk about us in one of your videos? You will be amazed at how many companies are going to reach out and ask you to do this. As time goes on, you're going to get, probably close to like 30 a week as your brand grows. But, this is another way to make money. Outside of that, there's YouTube ad revenue. So as you keep posting on YouTube, eventually you're going to hit the requirements to become monetized. When this happens, YouTube is literally going to pay us to market ourselves. That's such a cheat code. The fact that we're going to be posting content that shows we're an expert at what we do. People are going to watch it, and YouTube's going to pay it for us. There's no other platform where you get paid to promote yourself. So this one's like I said, complete cheat code. And it's awesome to make a few $1,000 every month posting content on YouTube. And then finally, as we've talked about earlier, you can do freelancing, but eventually you're going to run out of time. And what's going to happen is you could go down the agency or matchmaking route. In this case, in the agency land, you're going to keep getting deals thrown at you, and you could either be the manager over a few other developers to, really crank out some awesome products and just make a lot of money between, you charge $100 an hour to the client, you pay your developer 60, that $40 in the middle is all yours and completely, you just make sure the progress goes smoothly for the project. Or you could play matchmaker where you say, hey, a project comes in and you go, hey, I don't know. I don't have time to do this. However, I know Bob. Bob is the best builder when it comes to creating this type of stuff. And I'd happily refer him to you. And you just take a 10 to 20% cut for being the matchmaker in the middle, and you do zero work, but still get paid, which is just wild. So as you can see, there's so many ways to make money with an AI personal brand. It doesn't seem fair. It seems like you're cheating, but it's such an awesome opportunity. And that's why I've been doing this whole course and masterclass, just because I want more of you guys to start doing this because it's completely life-changing. Now, like I said, there's unlimited opportunities as you go down this. And I want to also talk about one of the biggest benefits of building an AI personal brand when it comes to monetization. And I don't think people fully understand this. So one of the best parts about building your personal brand is you're not locked into a single business idea. For example, if you were to go off and build a SaaS application, you're going to spend months creating it. You're going to go pitch it to the world. Obviously you're going to try and be smart about it, but it's going to take time, and you're going to pitch in this direction. And then if it doesn't succeed and take off, you have to completely pivot, tear all of that down, and start over in a new vertical. There's no carrying over, like all your results. There's no leverage to add them to the next thing that you do. You're always starting completely from ground zero, building up, tearing down, building up, tearing down. And there's no continuation from one project to the next. However, with an AI personal brand, every piece of content that you do stacks on each other over and over and over again and brings you more leads. Then with inside your AI personal brand, you now have unlimited opportunities to try out all of these different monetization vehicles. So you're going to start doing some coaching. Then you're going to say, hey, I've helped a bunch of people, I've coached a ton of people on this specific problem. I'm going to launch a digital course. You launch a digital course, you help 200 people out, you make a good chunk of change, and then you're just going to keep posting content, bringing in more leads, solve another problem, another digital course, start building a SaaS app, whatever you need to do. You're just going to be able to keep stacking on you because you are the cornerstone of the AI personal brand and the business. And as long as you keep providing, getting new leads in, you have unlimited shots on goal of making money in new ways. And this is like this right here. I don't think enough people understand why building an AI personal brand is the best business opportunity for AI developers and creators. Strictly for this reason right here, because the world's changing so fast and every other business punishes you in a fast changing world because you're locked in. In this one, we're flexible, we're agile, and we're adapting to the market as things change. So this is why I love building an AI personal brand so much, and I hope you're seeing the power of it. Now, we've talked monetization strategy, but now we want to talk about scaling it. So we so far have gone ahead, we've picked your brand positioning, we've talked about content, we've talked about networking, and we've talked about making money. But how do we connect all these systems together to grow exponentially? And that's what we're going to be talking about in pillar number 5, where we're going to start talking about the growth flywheel so you can see how everything connects and honestly just explodes your success. So I can't wait to go ahead and hop in and let's go ahead and start talking about pillar number 5. All right, guys, welcome to the 5th and final pillar of growing your own AI personal brand, which is all about the growth flywheel. And this is where we're going to turn all your systems into exponential growth, where we're going to start scaling your audience, authority, and income. So let's go ahead and dive in to exactly what's happening inside of your growth flywheel. So at first, when you're creating content and growing your AI personal brand, it can feel slow at start. But once you begin to understand how all these different systems work together and compound exponentially, it's going to feel like momentum just doesn't stop once your flywheel starts growing. So what's actually happening under the hood inside of your AI personal brand is that you have a 3-part feedback loop. So what's going to happen is your content engine is going to attract more attention, which then fuels networking. Then as your networking engine starts to grow, you're going to build more relationships. And those relationships are going to turn into more monetization opportunities. And then as you monetize those opportunities, you're going to be able to go off and create more content because you're going to be able to create more tips and tricks guides, more how-to guides, because you've gone off and done real things in the real world. And when you go off and create that new content, you're going to say, oh, by the way, I implemented this exact solution for paying customers. So we now have authority. So then that next video hits harder. So more subscribers, more networking, more content. And it just keeps going ever and ever and ever. But this is how the flywheel works. So it's a 3-part feedback loop where every system grows together and just shoots off like a rocket ship with exponential growth. So let me go ahead and just give you a more detailed example of the flywheel in action so you can see how one video works to grow everything. So here's what a single video can do for you inside of your AI personal brand. So you're going to go off and post a YouTube video that shows people how to build an AI tool. Then inside of that video, once it goes live, it's going to attract new subscribers and it's going to spark some DMs with people who are interested in doing the same thing that you were doing. Then you're going to go off and have those strategy calls that we talked about in section number 3 with strategic networking. You're going to give away all the value that you possibly can. And if you potentially could help them even further, you're going to say something like, oh, by the way, I actually help coach AI developers do the exact same thing that you're looking to do. And you're going to go off and offer a coaching package of like, hey, over 4 different calls, strategic calls together, I think I can help you build the exact solution you're trying to do, help get you there faster. Then you're going to go off and actually help and do the coaching calls, helping them achieve their goal along the way. And then what's going to happen is you're going to see so many lessons learned that people had with like, they didn't know how to do something over here. You dropped a tip and trick over here that they found super helpful, that they resonated with. And then that is where we start to complete the feedback loop where we're going to go, oh, okay, I now know that, people a few steps behind me really struggled with this. I need to go off and create a video on this. And that's going to go off and make new YouTube content. It's really going to resonate because if one person had the issue, there's probably a chance that thousands of people or tens of thousands of people have issues with the same thing. And we're just going to go ahead and create the feedback loop, which has making awesome content, but it's going to help with more networking, and it's going to help with more monetization. So they all work together and just explode. And really it comes back to a 3-part feedback loop where it just goes content, networking, monetization, and then just repeat. And every one of these engines, as they grow, your whole AI personal brand as a whole grows as well. It's just amazing how it all works together. And what basically is going to happen is, at first, when you're creating your AI personal brand, like I said, it's going to feel slow. You're going to be putting out content over and over and over again. And what's wild about these platforms like YouTube and LinkedIn is they do have an exponential tendency, meaning as you grow faster. So your first video is going to get, 100 views, 200 views, but your 5th video, now that YouTube's figured out who you are and you have an audience to already serve content to, it's going to start getting thousands of views. Then when you have thousands of subscribers and you make another video, your new videos are going to get tens of thousands of views, and it just literally shoots off like a rocket ship. But at first it can feel very slow. So this is why I actually want to go ahead and talk about the next point is most creators never reach the point where they feel that exponential growth and things take off and just completely change your life. And the reason why is they just quit before their flywheel takes off, which hurts me every time I see it happen, because I know all the rewards are saved to the people who don't give up. So most people, they'll post 5 videos, get 10 views and quit. It's not their fault. They just don't know how to properly create videos, and it can be discouraging. Or they'll have 3 conversations with people as they're creating their YouTube content, and they'll hear, I'm not interested, and then also quit. Or they go off and offer coaching once, they get a no and quit. And it's because it can be very discouraging if you don't see the bigger picture and just know everything's going to scale and get easier as you grow your AI personal brand. But if they had just kept going, what would have happened is their content would have started ranking, and they would be known as the, authority for their specific space. Their network would have exploded to where now they're known as the go-to person for a specific topic, and opportunities are just going to come out of the woodworks left and right, and they're going to have so many ways to make money, they can't even keep up with it. And then also when it comes to it, your opportunities just would have, like I said, start flowing in. So the main lesson here is consistency is the price of admission for your growth flywheel. You just have to stick to it. And if you do, the result on the other side will be absolutely life-changing. So I want to go ahead and actually just cover a few things that have happened to me as I've built my own AI personal brand, so you can see exactly what happened when someone who started that had no idea what they were doing, bought courses along the way to try and figure out how to do it, and just promised themselves, I'm going to provide as much value to the world as I can, and I'm not going to give up. Those were the only 2 requirements I had for myself when creating my own AI personal brand. So as you can see, this is the epitome of building an exponential system like an AI personal brand. Or to start, it's going to look completely flat because YouTube's trying to figure out who you are. We're trying to figure out how to make content that attracts views. But eventually, things are going to click. You're going to understand how to create content. You're going to understand what your niche is. And then YouTube's going to then go, okay, here's what this person's capable of doing. And I now know who to serve their content to. And it's just going to take off like a rocket ship from there. So this is my email list. And as you can see, I started to figure out what to do on January 2027. The beginning of January 2024. So that was a full year long of me not knowing what to do on YouTube. I was all over the place, but I just told myself I can't quit. And what the whole goal of this masterclass is to do is that year of just giving up, which I call beginner hell, I want to shrink it to be as small as possible so you start to see results as quick as possible. So that's what this masterclass is for, is to shrink it down. And then also the AI Authority Accelerator, it's to compress it to a matter of weeks, to compress beginner hell to a matter of weeks, so you just start to see everything take off like a rocket ship, like Alexandra and Tim have seen, like we talked about at the beginning of the video. So, but the cool part is, as you can see, once things take off, they just shoot like a rocket ship. And I want this to happen for you guys as well. And you can see over here on YouTube, as time goes on, to start, it's just a flat line. And it's going to look very sad when you first see it. But just know, as time goes on, videos from last year are going to feed into your content system. The longer we stay in the game, everything takes off exponentially. There's a reason Einstein said compounding is the 8th interest of the world. It's because as time goes on, it's our friend, and it just takes everything off like a rocket ship. So let's actually talk about some real results that have happened inside of my AI personal brand. So the biggest one, new jobs. Along the way, as the second I started creating my AI personal brand and letting the world know that I'm a really good software developer when it comes to building AI solutions, job opportunities started happening left and right. So within a matter of months, I was able to, go ahead and land a brand new job. This completely blew my mind whenever I got to hop on a call with the founder, and he said, oh my gosh, we really didn't have like a formal interview because he got to see what I was doing on my YouTube channel. He's like, oh yeah, you look like you really know what you're doing. This is awesome. And it just went from there, led to new jobs to where eventually right now I'm at Crew AI, an absolute absolute dream job. Literally could not be happier. And I was able to only land this job because I've been showing my capabilities inside of my AI personal brand for the past year leading up to this point. And each time along the way, it's been more money and more money and more fun, honestly. So I've just been very, very fortunate, and on all these companies were absolutely awesome to work at. Outside of that, there's been so many opportunities for coaching and freelancing. So the first year going into it, I didn't really know what I was doing inside of YouTube. And that's why I'm making this video, to help you guys, save time and a headache. There's a reason I have so many gray hairs, and basically to, speed run this. So when it comes to making money. So as you can see, I actually started getting freelancing opportunities as soon as like 4 months into creating my YouTube brand. That was slight luck, slight being in the right place at the right time. But that's the whole purpose of building an AI personal brand. It gives us opportunities that we would have never realized without. And then I started to figure out there's so many people beating on my door for me to help them with their own content or with their own projects, because they saw what I was doing on YouTube. So I finally was like, hey, these people want help. Let's actually start helping them. So in the like June-ish time frame, I started actually coaching people as well, which is one of the biggest things we talk about inside the monetization pillar. And then over the course of the next 6 months, I was just trying to provide and help as many people as I possibly could, making money along the way. So between freelancing and coaching, it was awesome. At one point, I actually figured out, I was like, hey, let's just start selling coaching in bundles like I've recommended to you guys. Over the course of one weekend, when I opened the doors, it actually paid enough for my wife and I to go to a nice trip to Mexico. And that's just like when my brain broke of just like, oh my gosh, there's so much money to be made inside of this. So just want you to know, like there is no ceiling to what's possible with building an AI personal brand. Then from there, I decided to go off whenever school launched. I thought this was an amazing way to start connecting with a lot more of you guys. So I went off and launched my own community, and since about, maybe March-ish timeframe, 2024, I've been able to grow a school community to almost 6,000 members, where I'm able to hop on weekly free coaching calls, provide a lot of value to everyone on the call, and just, kind of keep a pulse on what's going on in the world and just provide as much value as I can, because I'm a firm believer the more value you put out, the more good things come to you too. So as you can see, that's another opportunity that you can do as you go off and launch your AI personal brand. And then I've also been able to create and launch digital products. Like we talked about in the monetization pillar, this has been one of the most fruitful ways to go off and, just bring in a lot of dollars really fast. It blew my mind. I've never had, a weekend where you make like $20,000 plus. It just absolutely blew my mind that that was possible. And what's wild about this is this was my first major digital product. I've learned so many lessons. I've learned so many ways how to structure content, how to pick a video topic. I've learned so many lessons. So I'm confident the next time I do a digital course launch like this, it will be twice that, maybe 3 times that, because I now better understand how to do this. And also, going back to our growth flywheel, as time goes on, the audience grows. So the same product getting offered to a bigger audience just means even more money. So the kicker here is just don't give up. But yeah, so inside the AI Authority Accelerator, this is one of the other things I do want to be talking with you guys about. If you are interested in launching a digital product, how to actually go about doing it as well. So the one thing I do just want to mention though is you just looked at a snapshot of me over the past 2 years. So none of this happens overnight, but it can happen much faster for you guys than it did for me, especially if you follow everything that I talked about in today's video. So the main thing is once the flywheel starts to spin, as you saw earlier, it just never stops. As long as you don't stop putting value into the world, it never stops and you will grow exponentially. And just more opportunities, more success comes your way. Now, if you are interested in getting your flywheel to spin faster so you don't have to go through that beginner hell, like I said at the beginning of this video, I am launching the AI Authority Accelerator, 8-week program that's focused on helping AI developers and creators just like you to build your personal brand and to land your first paid client in just 8 weeks. And I'll be helping you every step of the way. We are trying to speed run success inside of the AI Authority Accelerator. You can take everything that I told you in this video today and go off and absolutely crush it. But for those of you who are wanting to maximize and take as much advantage of you can of this AI, explosive wave that's happening right now and want to get to seeing results as quick as possible, definitely recommend checking out the AI Authority Accelerator. There are only 20 spots in the first cohort. And like I said, the initial cohort will be the cheapest because I'm offering a founder discount. So if you are looking to start, now is the time. I'll actually send out, the doors will open for the program on March 10th. And if you are interested in joining, you'll be able to click the first link down in the description below. That'll put you on the waitlist and give you access to the 5-day masterclass on building an AI personal brand, which goes even deeper than what we've been able to talk about in today's video. And the program goes live on March 30th. That's when the first cohort gets kicked off and people's lives are going to get changed. And I'm so excited for it. So yeah, But that's right for this video, guys. If you have any questions about anything that I've said today, two options. Either A, drop a comment down below. I will happily help out. And then also, if you want to shoot me an email with any questions that you have, feel free to over at brandon@brandonhancock.io. I'll have a link to it down in the description as well. But yeah, I cannot wait to see what you guys go off and do. I cannot wait to see the amount of success that you guys have as you go off and build your AI personal brands. I do ask that you please keep me posted because I love seeing you guys go off and absolutely crush it. So please keep me posted however you can. But yeah, you guys are awesome. Hope you have a great day, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. See ya.